welcome to another episode of Conversation with a Chef. I'm Jo Ritty and I love sharing with you the conversations I get to have with talented and passionate chefs. It's the backstory, if you will, to the food they're putting up. I begin today by acknowledging the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, traditional custodians of the unceded land where this conversation takes place, and I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. George Calombaris is back in Melbourne with Auto Greek, a pop-up at Bar Yarra in the Ovolo Hotel in South Yarra. A week in, the room is full of familiar faces and new ones too. For George, the project feels a little like bringing the band back together. In this conversation, he reflects on nearly 3 decades in hospitality and what he still believes Melbourne can be as a food city. He also talks about the food itself, neo-classic Greek cooking that is simple, generous and deeply personal. Think watermelon with feta, lamb chops over wood fire and vegetables grown from heirloom seeds. George is thoughtful, philosophical and still completely animated by the power of a good plate of food to make people happy. Hi George.
Hi Jo, how are you?
Good, thank you. It's nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you too. Happy Tuesday.
Yes, you too. I actually met you a few years ago, but that was quite a while ago, so it's nice to be able to catch up with you now.
Yeah, thank you. Where did we meet?
I think it was one of like a Jimmy Grant's opening or something like that.
Wow, I think I had hair back then.
Possibly. So how are things going with Auto Greek the first week or so in?
Yeah, look, it's been an overwhelming, amazing first week, obviously to be back in Melbourne, in my hometown, where it all sort of began, is always a little bit emotional and obviously means a lot. So a great start to it, and it's so nice to see a lot of familiar faces, a lot of my old, amazing guests that used to frequent all of the venues from Press Club to Ghazi to Hellenic Republic to Jimmy Grant's to all of them. So, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool and I'm very grateful of it.
Yeah. How did it all come about?
To be honest with you, as I always say, hospitality is not about how grandiose or outrageous a venue can look and how much money you spend. It's all about humans. And Chris Pavlidis, who's the general manager of the Ovolos, both in Melbourne and in Melbourne CBD and South Yarra, worked for me back at Made Establishment Days, and he reached out and just went, look, we really want to do something in South Yarra and want to do something Greek, and I'd love to do something with you. And for me it was not really much of a conversation because I love Chris and I believe in a lot of my ex-crew that used to work for me or now that still work for me. So it was an easy yes, and I love the property, love the position, love where it is, so it all made a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I guess pop-ups are interesting because you get to try things out and you get to catch up with old friends, as you say. What do you love about the pop-up model?
Yeah, look, I'm not going to sit and promote pop-ups because I feel, look, for me it's different. Like I've owned, over 20-odd venues throughout Victoria, throughout Melbourne for a very long time, where I've owned leases and paid a lot of money and did all what I've had to do. For me, I'm 47 and it makes sense. What I don't want is, every chef out there just doing pop-ups because doesn't make sense, but for me it makes sense. It makes sense to, be back in my hometown and to be able to give the guests and also the team members, a lot of them used to work for me that work there now. We're bringing the band back together in a weird way, but it's great, and I'm grateful of it. But it's a different time in my life, That's why I'm sort of saying I don't want you going out there promoting everyone should do a pop-up. What I want to promote is the fact that, hospitality is great. Melbourne is great. We need to be the custodians to re-energise this great city to where it used to be, because it was the envy of the entire country and the world in many ways.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we are a little bit bruised and battered at the moment. Let's call it as it is.
Yeah.
But it's up to us to stand tall and strong and make it wonderful again.
Yeah, and you say, that you're different, older now as well. But what do you get a sense of what's different about Melbourne's appetite now compared to 5 or even 10 years ago?
Okay, there's no question about it. And I don't want to use that word again that happened 8 years ago, the whole pandemic stuff.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's like our thing in Victoria. We keep mentioning it. Enough's enough. We've got to be forward thinking. We've got to be progressive. Melbourne is a great city. It's one of the great cities of the world. And we've got to build on what we've done in the past, focus on what we've focus on the incredible stuff we've done, but focus on the future. And the future is the fact that we have got the most amazing peninsulas in Australia in terms of, think about Mornington Peninsula, think about the incredible produce that comes out of there, the great wine. We've got to celebrate all these things, but also think about the incredible hospitality groups and standalone restaurants that do amazing stuff. There's amazing young chefs out there that are, pushing themselves and working hard to do great things in this great city. So it's up to us as consumer behaviour to support that ideology and tell the world how great we are.
Yeah, I agree. Let's talk about the food. I always like to hear about the food. You're describing it as neoclassic Greek cuisine. What does that mean for you?
Yeah, I think, I'm in this sort of situation right now where I had another great sort of 4 or 5 weeks in Greece, on the mainland in January, where I got to go and do stuff that I've never done before. I got to go with my son up to the north of Greece, far north, into an area called Mount Athos, where, it's only monks. You have to get a visa to get in there and get approved. Only monks and men live there, and I got to sort of experience, from a spiritual point of view, the food of this area and this region. Then got to go into the Peloponnese, where we went and saw the olive groves that we use in their olive oil, and got to understand how, why, when. So I think a lot of this sort of neoclassic, I call it neoclassic because it's sort of, it's classic dishes, but just done in a modern way. I mean, we're cooking, things like, lamb chops, but, using the most incredible, wood oven grill with the most amazing olive wood to flavour those chops. It's nothing new in terms of, oh my God, I'm pushing the boundaries of cuisine, but all we're trying to do is accentuate that whatever we put on that plate, we're cooking it in the best possible way we can.
Delicious. And I feel like it's quite a challenge to do dishes that are under $30. So what was your thinking around that?
Yeah, it's very true. And I think 95% of the menu is under $30 or sort of around there. And it was that the fact that what we wanted to think was, okay, as a consumer, you can come in at, let's say, 2:30, 3 o'clock, order yourself, a beautiful, a roasted beetroot and feta dip, have a glass of Chardonnay, and maybe, I don't know, you only want one lamb chop. Well, you can have one lamb chop and pay, I think it's like $12.50 and enjoy that, and it's all good. But if you come in with, I don't know, me and my 4 burly builder mates, and you want to have, a whole chicken, baidakya, have 20 lamb chops and, loads of, chicks cooked in olive oil and all the trimmings, you can, but you're not going to walk out spending a lot of money. I think that was the whole bit about Auto Greek, the whole even brand and ideology of it. Auto meaning always on, always available, and we're not here because it's about fanciness. Like, you know, when we say watermelon and feta, we literally mean that. We're going to give you a chunk of watermelon with feta on it, because that's what I would eat as a youngster in the afternoon. That was our snack on a summer's day. It was watermelon and feta, and it was yum. And that's what we're giving. We're not compressing the watermelon. We're not doing anything fancy. We're just getting the best watermelon we possibly can get from our farmers. I mean, we use a young kid called Nikos, Nikos, a really good friend of mine who's inherited a lot of these seeds and plants from his great-granddad. He grows a lot of our vegetables. So our boiled, we do a plate of what we call boiled vegetables, and they're all Nikos's vegetables. They're zucchini, they're horta, you know, there's broccoli, and we just dress them with olive oil and lemon juice and serve them. So again, trying to work out how we can just put simplicity on the plate without fuss, and trying to keep it as value-driven as possible.
Amazing. I guess you've already touched on this a little bit with some of those scenarios of the kinds of people that might come in, but for you, what would be your ideal experience for a diner? How would they really get to understand the concept of Auto-Greek?
Yeah, I mean, it's come in and just eat the way you want to eat. You know, I know when I go out, especially when I'm in, you know, sort of mainland Greece, I like to, and you know, I don't know, maybe it's a bit of it's the way I like to do it. It's like I like to have a couple of salads to start with. I like to maybe have a couple of little appetizers. There might be some barbecue corn, and you know, maybe some a little plate of a couple of roasted prawns in the oven with tarama butter, and then finish with you know, a little bit of protein. It might be chicken. It might be the souzoukakya, with the souzoukakya recipe from a little taverna in Thessaloniki in the north of Greece. This recipe was gifted to me, and I'm very grateful of the recipe, and I'm never going to claim it was my recipe, but I have taken this recipe and I've paid homage to the guys that gifted it to me, and it's basically this barbecued whipped beef and pork mince. We whip it with ice cubes and herbs and this other stuff. So, you know, sit and have a couple of them with some, you know, tomatoes that have just been chopped up at a room temperature and dressed with extra virgin olive oil and a little squeeze of lemon and some oregano, and you know, that's the way to eat. It's never going to challenge you, this food. You're not coming to, you know, you're not coming to the Louvre, and you're not looking at, you know, amazing pictures on the wall. You know, I always said the press club is this place, like, you're going to love it and hate it. You're going to come there and it's a bit like an art gallery. You're going to love some pictures, you're going to hate some pictures. You're going to come to Auto-Greek. It's definitely not a gallery. It's just a place that's going to feed your soul. And when you walk out, you're going to definitely be full in your stomach.
That's so good. I love hearing you talk about food. It's really great when people are passionate about what they do. What do you still love about hospitality? You've had a lot of different experiences, and what keeps you in it?
Yeah, you know, I'm 47. I've been doing this for sort of 29 years, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I love it. It's given me so much. I've travelled the world. I've met the most incredible people. I keep, you know, it still hasn't stopped for me, thank God. You know, and I'm very grateful of it. It's this idea that you can instantly gratify someone and make them happy through what you put on a plate. There's nothing else better in the world. It doesn't discriminate. It's not racist. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, green, pink. You know, think about bread in its simplest state. It exists in every single country in the world in a different way, shape, or form. It could be pumpernickel in Germany. It could be ciabatta in Italy, or lasagna in Greece. You know, food is peaceful. And in a world that we live in right now, this sort of crazy world where it's definitely unhinged in many ways, and certainly, you know, it's putting a lot of people on edge. food is this grounding, wonderful thing, and I'm grateful that I'm part of it.
That's so lovely. And just to finish with, George, what would your advice be to a young person starting out as a chef?
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Your mistakes will be your biggest achievements. As long as you can learn from them and not make them again. But walk out on a limb. Don't be afraid. Try and have that impeccable sense of balance on that sort of tightrope of life. And just go for it. Don't be scared. Don't play the easy route. Play the route that's a bit itchy. It's difficult at times. It's confronting. It's challenging. I wouldn't change my life one bit. I'm very grateful for what I have and what I've achieved, and the good, the bad, the ugly. It's the step that we take next that's the most important, and then the lessons that we've learnt along the way.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. I can't wait to swing by and taste some of that delicious sounding food. So
please do.
And all the best for the rest of the month.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the conversation. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, George. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Conversation with a Chef with George Calombaris at Auto Greek at Bar Yarra and Ovolo Hotel, South Yarra. You can check out all the goodness on Instagram at autogreek_diner. If you'd like to hear more stories from other chefs, I'm also on Instagram at Conversation with a Chef. You can read this chat online at www.conversationwithachef.com, and of course, you can follow me on Apple and Spotify podcasts. I would absolutely love it if you told a friend about my chats. I still think it's the best way to get these delicious stories out into the world. Once again, thanks so much for listening. Have a great day and bon appetit.